Until recently, it was a fairly common practice in Spain to underdeclare the property price at the notary in order to reduce purchase tax when buying. In this episode of 2 Minute Tuesday with Hondon Valley Homes, we're going to address this issue in a clear and concise manner and tell you why it could be a problem in the future. Welcome to episode 30 of 2 Minute Tuesday with Hondon Valley Homes. Now, this week's question comes from Kim in Makisavenda, and she asks, Stephen, we've heard from many people about under-declaration issues and associated fines. Could you please clarify what this is and how it affects us? Now, it used to be common practice in Spain to pay a certain percentage of black money when purchasing a property, and this was almost an accepted part of purchasing a property. So as an example, if a property cost €200,000, then it was agreed between the buyer and the seller that they would declare a certain percentage to have as the figure on the deeds, and the rest would be paid in cash, which was known as black money. Now, why did buyers and sellers agree to do this? The simple answer is to avoid tax. The vendor would agree it if they'd made a profit on their property in order to avoid paying capital gains tax at between 19 and 21% on the profit that they made, and this is called incremental patrimonio. The perceived benefit for the buyer is that when you purchase a property, the government will charge you 10% tax on the purchase price. Obviously, the lower the price that you declare, the less tax you pay. However, I use the word here perceived in this statement, and I'm going to explain why I use perceived, as it's an important word later. Now, fortunately, these days of black money are long behind us, and this is due mainly to the financial crash, reducing house prices, and not as many vendors having to pay capital gains tax. Also, buyers are becoming more savvy, and the new breed of estate agents want their clients to have a clear, transparent transactions. And perhaps the most importantly is the tax office, which are called the hacienda in Spain, are no longer turning a blind eye to the practice. So let me explain why it is always best to show a true reflection of the property price when you're declaring it at the notary. Now, number one, you don't want to be moving to a foreign country that you hope to make your home, and the first act that you do is to defraud the tax system. Now, I'm sure you wouldn't do this in your home country, so please don't do it here. Number two, if the tax office believe that you have underdeclared the sale price of your property, you will have to pay the under declaration, which is 10% of the difference between the under and the actual price, plus a hefty fine and the interest. And number three, if you underdeclare today, you'll save 10% tax on the purchase cost. However, this is going to come back to bite you in the future, as your deeds will declare the underdeclared price on them. Now, remember I used the word perceive before. This is why I used it. Now, hopefully, when you come to sell your new property in the future, you'll have made a nice profit. However, if you underdeclared when you originally bought, your deeds will show this lower price, which means on paper, the profit will look even bigger than it really was. And you're going to have to pay tax at 19 to 21% on this perceived larger profit. So you'll save at 10% today when you're buying, you'll pay tax at 21% when you come to sell. So how does the hacienda know that you've underdeclared the price of your property? Well, in truth, they don't. They have a rough estimate as to what each house is worth, and it's taken from the council tax valuation formulas, and this is called the cadastral value, which is similar to the rateable value in the UK. However, it's not always 100% accurate, and it doesn't take into account that you could have genuinely got a good deal and paid very little for a property, or that the vendor could have been very keen to sell the property, or that the property itself could have needed a lot of renovation in order to bring it up to standard. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky. If the tax office believe that you've underdeclared, they will attempt to reclaim the underdeclaration tax at 10% plus the interest and perhaps a fine, which, trust me, it's not going to be a nice letter to receive. Now, not all is at a loss though. If you've genuinely paid the full price for the property and you've not been involved in any underdeclaration, then you have little to fear. Now, along with the support of your lawyer and your agent, you should be able to show that you have paid the correct price for the property. The agent will be able to show that the price that the property was advertised for sale. You can also show that similar prices for similar properties in the area, or what they've been sold for. If the property needed renovation, you can show photos, video, as well as tax receipts for all the work that was undertaken to bring the property up to standard. Your lawyer will be able to show a clear transfer of monies in and out of their client's account, and we can show how the property was funded. With a little bit of persistence and tenacity on your behalf and that of the lawyers, you can have the judgment overruled. So in conclusion, always check with your estate agent and your lawyer that the fabulous bargain of a property that you're about to purchase is around about the correct price, so that you're not going to fall foul of the under declaration. If you found this video useful and informative, then please let us know. You can subscribe to these videos by clicking on the logo somewhere in the bottom corner of the screen here, or at the very end of the video. If you're thinking of buying or selling, or maybe you have a question that you would like answering, just like Kim in Mackay-Savenda, then please feel free to drop us a line on the details on the bottom of the screen now. Once again, thank you for taking time to watch 2 Minute Tuesday with Hondon Valley Homes, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Hasta luego.